Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Blockfather here to give you regular updates within the crypto industry. Before we move on, very quickly, please like and subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on so that you get an indication on when I post the next video. So if we quickly move on to what's going on in the crypto market, we can see Bitcoin at the top here, around about 21.5k, Ethereum just over 1,600k, and if we do scroll down, on average we're seeing 2 or 3% gains. Polkadot there closing in on 6%, and also Atom up nicely around about 13%. But on the whole, crypto markets are up very slightly today. In terms of the Bitcoin charts, we can see that Bitcoin has been on a steady downtrend since late last year, and we're now down into this range, or we continue in this range here. In terms of the crypto market, again we've seen a slow, which I've already alluded to, a slow decline from this top here, around about 3 trillion in terms of market cap, and a slow decline down all the way to this sort of bottom area here, which is just over $1 trillion. So it's very interesting to see. In terms of the stock markets, we're seeing the S&P, the Dow Jones, and also the Nasdaq down in early hours trading, so futures trading, and across Europe and Asia, the stock markets are down. So move on to Twitter. What's going on in Twitter? This is quite interesting in terms of Hendricks. His tweet, this was a few days ago now, 3 days ago now, where he sees that Bitcoin is oversold with a release of 137,000 Bitcoin within the next couple of weeks by M.Gox, and he seems to think that we could see a bloodbath in the crypto markets, and this is probably backed up with this M.Gox news story here, which again was taken just under a week ago. Obviously everybody knows about M.Gox and what happened in 2014 in terms of the 850,000 Bitcoin, the loss of 850,000 Bitcoins, and this stolen property in terms of releasing it back to their investors will start at some point over the next few weeks. And it says here, what is the process? Creditors will have to choose the early payback option in order to fuel the FUD surrounding the Bitcoin price. This will result in the payment of BTC. The open markets order books may be impacted by this. So I think it remains to be seen whether we see Bitcoin completely dumped onto the markets, which obviously will cause the price to come down, or whether these investors do actually retain their Bitcoin once they receive it. So it's certainly interesting and one to watch over the coming weeks, and be interesting to see how the crypto markets react as a result of this. So certainly interesting. Move on to Il Capo Crypto, quite vocal on Twitter. He typed a day or so ago that the market is about to give you the ultimate exit opportunity. So there's mixed feelings across economists at the moment, whether it's crypto or indeed the stock market. People are still unsure on whether we're going to see an increase in the market, whether we're going to see an uptrend within the market, or a short-term uptrend, or whether we're going to see another capitulation dump. Now, Capo Crypto obviously seems to think that we're going to get one last pump, or an exit opportunity, as he's alluded to here, followed by another capitulation. So that's going to be interesting to see how we fare in that regard. And an interesting one here from Lark Davis, who's talking about the dollar index. He has alluded to a possible double top here, and a possible down spiral of the US dollar. Now, we all know if we do see a down spiral of the US dollar, stock markets and indeed crypto markets should rise. Well, that's normally what happens. They do rise as a result of a weakness of the dollar. So that's an interesting one to watch. But again, we could see an increase there. So we don't really, it's one to watch and monitor, see in which direction we do go in. And then finally, this was an interesting one that I read from Mark Davis yesterday, in terms of China facing an unprecedented financial crisis, where we've seen bank runs, riots, tanks parading the streets. It's certainly an issue over in China, obviously with China being one of the strongest or the biggest economies across the globe, along with the US and the European and Europe. So they are a big deal when it comes to the global economy. We can see here there's written 75% of Chinese wealth is tied up in property, with only 25% in stocks, which means the average citizen is deeply exposed to a potential property bubble pop. And he goes on to write numerous things here which are very, very interesting. It's certainly one that I would suggest you go over and have a read, have a look, digest, and try and understand what's going on in the macro environment, because this does, or it will affect your investment decisions. And then finally, we have the Fed Jackson Hole event coming up in a couple of days' time, Thursday, I believe. And it's certainly an interesting one, because we can see, or we will see, or it gives the Fed an opportunity to set the tone for the rest of the year as to whether they are dovish or indeed hawkish. And it'll be interesting to see how the stock market reacts, and whether we do get to see additional interest rate raises. And of course, whatever goes on in the stock market ultimately happens in the crypto market. So certainly want to watch out for the Jackson Hole event taking place Thursday, I believe, this week. So just to round things off before we finish, quickly move on to what's going on in the Solana NFT world, and quickly move on to Magic Eden, where we can see the top collections. Let's just move my video screen here, so we can see the top collections currently, with ABC currently sitting at number 1. And this is a recent release by HGE.Soul. I think he released that collection yesterday, so that's currently sitting at the number 1 spot, with DeGods a very close second. There's a lot of hype within the DeGod space at the moment, with the emergence of Utes and the release of Utes scholarships, whereby many individuals and personalities within the Twitter space are applying for the whitelist, which we're unsure when this mint for Utes is going to take place. Now, we do hear that Frank DeGods will make an announcement within the next 24 hours or so. So the excitement is certainly building for the Utes mint, which obviously means that DeGods is currently sitting in that number 2 collection space on Magic Eden currently. So a lot of excitement going on there. Number 3, we have Oak Paradise, and then number 4, Vandals. Now, Vandals were trading at around about 15 or 16 SOL yesterday, and we can see here now that they're currently trading at around about 10 and a half. Now, whether that's down to the disappointment in terms of the art reveal, or whether that's a standard dip, it could be a buying opportunity. It may or may not be, dependent on your theory or your thesis on that particular project. Then we've also got Kets on Crack at number 5, DJ Ape Academy at 6, OK Bears at 7, Gcan Studios at 8, Sentries at 9, and then the Solana Monkey Business SMB at 10. So it's still an exciting area for me, and certainly one that I will continue to look to invest in decent projects over the short, medium and long term. It's an exciting space. I truly believe in it, and I think we are going place, and it's still an embryonic asset class worth looking into. Okay, and that's me done for today. I just want to remind you all that anything that I depict within these videos shouldn't be considered as financial advice, certainly from a random guy on the internet. So please go out and do your own research, and ensure that you develop a thesis and a strategy, and follow that routinely. If you're going to go into DCA, make sure you DCA into top quality crypto coins that you have researched yourself. But that's me done for the day. I'll be back over the next few days with another update. So stay safe out there, people. Blockfather out.